Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music, Love Will Guide Us, number 131. Beautiful. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Hillsborough. We are an open and welcoming congregation. Whoever you are, member, friend, or guest, we are glad that you are here. We are a community of liberal, open-minded people who strive to connect with one another in love. We are defined by covenant rather than by a statement of belief or creed. We support each other in spiritual growth, deepening of faith, and challenging one another to find more love and deep truth inside ourselves and in the world. I would like to thank everyone who has made this worship celebration possible. Our music director, Aviva Enoch. Thank you to Jasper Becker, who is our listening ear for the day. As always, a huge thank you to Sue Libramento and AC Tharrington for producing and distributing our order of service. My name is Heather Kraft, and I'm the worship coordinator today. Our speaker today is a new guest, the Reverend Alison Wilbur Eskildsen, Minister Emerita of the UU Fellowship of Athens, Georgia, currently lives in Chapel Hill with her husband, Paul. The couple moved here in late 2020 after her retirement from full-time ministry in Athens. They moved here to be near family, especially 3 lively grandsons. Today she will be speaking to us about the Labyrinth, a twisting, turning, one-way path towards a center, which exemplifies our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, Unitarian Universalism's 4th principle. Before we create our sacred space and begin worship, let's take a moment to share any announcements. From Finance Committee, there's a bulletin in your order of service. We are switching from Kindred to Vanco. If anyone needs help with that, I'm happy to help anybody set up a new account with Vanco. Or you can go to our website, uuchnc.org. And if you click on the donate button, it will bring up a page that will send you to the right place. But if you've been doing a recurring donation through Kindred, please switch it over to Vanco, because we can't do that for you.
We can.
We can?
If they ask us to.
Oh, cool. We can do it for you if you ask us to. From the RE committee, we are hoping to find a couple of more volunteers to be teacher assistants in the elementary RE program for this next school year. If you are willing to come once a month or once every other month and be a teacher assistant in the room, email program admin and RE at uuch.org. Sorry, uuchnc.org, and we'll get you the background forms to fill out. Okay, also we are in red, so everyone please keep your masks on. Are there any other announcements for the good of the community?
Briefly, RE also is in need of the OWL people need some fashion magazines. or like pop culture magazines facilitate discussions about body image with some of the teenagers. And the elementary ID, if you actually get a paper newspaper, we could use 5 or 6. So you can drop those off on the table there.
Okay, if there are no more announcements, please silence your cell phones or put them in worship mode. We will now create our sacred space by lighting our chalice, the UU symbol for the light of truth that each of us seeks, the hope that each of us brings, and the eternal light of love. Our chalice lighting is number 448 by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, and celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for inviting me to share your pulpit this morning. This is the time where I am to call you to worship. But I think you've actually already been called to worship because you have arrived here. And if you are not present in this sanctuary but have arrived online, then you have been called. Now, you may not think that you have been called to worship. Some don't like that word. But as you may know, worship means to ascribe things of worth. It is to lift up what we most value. Most of those things that we most value are expressed in our 7 principles. But this morning, we are going to be lifting up the spiritual journeys, the life journeys that we are all on, which is your theme for the month, our journeys. Since Unitarian Universalism embraces a wide spectrum of beliefs, those principles substitute in many ways for those things that we hold to be of value. And as was mentioned earlier, the 4th principle, that we affirm the free and responsible search for truth and meaning, really forms that search. And our opening hymn speaks to that theme. And so I invite us to rise in body or in spirit to sing number 1003 in the Teal hymnals.
Yes.
We're going to sing this in unison once, and then we will split into 2 groups and sing it as a round.
So 2 groups, like they'll just basically half the room and half the room. 1, 2.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Mystery, life is a riddle of mystery. Where mystery, life is a riddle Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we? Where are we going? Mystery, life is a riddle and mystery. Mystery, life is a riddle and mystery. Mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery.
I think we did that pretty well. That was really fun. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a sharing community where our joys are celebrated, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. Each Sunday, we take some time to reflect on the special happenings that have occurred this week among our members and friends. Some choose to share aloud, while others choose to remain silent. Here, we make room for both. For those of you who would like to share aloud, please take a moment before we begin to center yourself and collect your thoughts so that what you share this morning is personal, heartfelt, and brief. come to the altar and release a stone into the vase in silence while Aviva plays Spirit of Life. After she has played it through one time, we're all invited to join in singing. The words are printed in your order of service. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken, by remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. May the community respond, Amen, and blessed be.
Summer is a time when many families, many people go on vacation. Have some of you already been on a vacation away from home? Maybe? Yeah. A few of you, maybe some of you are anticipating getting away for a while. And even if you're not leaving your home, perhaps you can sort of leave behind some of the everyday worries and stresses that you might have. When you plan a trip, when you plan to leave, and I want to ask the children who are here first, what is it that you do in advance of leaving? You pack. And what do you pack? Clothes and
Sunscreen.
sunscreen, yeah, especially if you're going to be outside.
Yes.
And what was that?
If you go to the beach.
Yes, if you go to the beach, yes. And besides packing, what else might you be doing? Might you be planning? Thinking about the things that you might do? If you're going to go to the beach, what might you be thinking about doing? Any idea? What would you be thinking?
Sand toys.
Bringing your sand toys, yeah.
Bring your swimsuits to go swimming.
And planning on swimming? What about you? Not sure? Clothes, yeah. So might you be planning, I'll ask the adults in this room, might you be planning what you might do once you get there besides going to the beach? There are so many other things to do. And so before we go on a trip, we plan ahead to what that trip is going to include. We pack so that we've got the things that we need with us to get there, to entertain us when we're there and to facilitate that trip. And then At the end of that time that you're away, then what happens? Anyone?
Come back.
You come back. Hopefully you come back.
Put it all away again.
And you put it all away again, exactly. But what might you not be putting away? Is there anything that you might have brought back with you that you hold?
You mean besides the sunburn?
Besides a sunburn?
Memories.
Memories, yes, memories. And you might think about the things that you did or the things that you learned. If you went to a foreign country, maybe you had something new that you had never had before, something to eat. Or maybe you encountered different toilets that you didn't know how to use. All of these things challenge us when we're not in familiar places. And so one of the things that we might also do when we come back is to think about the comforts that we're used to, the changes that we might have made in order to accommodate those things that are different. So even when we go away on as little a thing as a vacation to the beach, we might be changed by that experience. That is a part of our journeys. And it's worth thinking about when we come back home to what is usual and comfortable and normal, to think about the ways that we might have been changed by the experiences that we had away. And that is one of the ways that we move along our journey of life. Now, I understand that children will be staying with us, so we won't be singing them out. And now I guess we have some readings.
Our first reading is from the 12th century philosopher, theologian, cleric Hugh of St. Victor, who wrote, "When we lift up the eyes of the mind to what is invisible, we should consider metaphors of visible things as if they were steps to understanding. Therefore, in spiritual matters, when something is called the highest, this doesn't mean that it is located above the top of the heavens, but rather that it is the inmost or most intimate of all. Thus, to ascend to God is to enter into oneself, and not only to enter into oneself, but in some unsayable manner to the inmost parts, to pass beyond oneself. He who can, as it were, enter into himself and going deeper and deeper pass beyond himself truly ascends to God." Our second, a modern reading, is entitled Labyrinth by the UU Reverend Leslie Takahashi. "Walk the maze within your heart. Guide your steps into its questioning curves. This labyrinth is a puzzle leading you deeper into your own truths. Listen in the twists and turns. Listen in the openness within all searching. Listen. A wisdom within calls you to a wisdom beyond you, and in that dialogue lies peace."
Chances are when you first entered a Unitarian Universalist congregation, you were likely asked what brought you here, what led you here. And you might have responded by giving a little bit of your spiritual journey. Perhaps you had been raised in another religious tradition that wasn't meeting your needs, and so you were seeking something different. Or perhaps you were raised in a Unitarian Universalist congregation and you wanted to be part of another community that was familiar to you. Or perhaps you were raised without any religious tradition, and you were seeking an open and free religious community like ours. Perhaps you came for other reasons, too many to name. We undertake a spiritual journey when we seek something more meaningful than doing the laundry, punching a time clock, managing work stress, or raising good kids. Though these are important, I think we seek an understanding of what it means to be alive, knowing we will die, to use the phrase of the Reverend Forrest Church. We want to know, what's the point of life? To help find answers, our fourth UU principle affirms our right to a, quote, free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Searching makes the journey. I find the journey metaphor particularly apt for us. Most traditions hand you a doctrine of mandatory beliefs, but we don't. If we did, your journey would be over. Instead, we believe the world is too complex and creative for there to be one truth for all people and for all time. We also believe tomorrow's experiences, ideas, and knowledge can change the truths we hold today. Your attending worship today forms a brief journey, a pilgrimage even. A pilgrimage is an intentional journey away from everyday concerns or comforts. Though taken for a variety of reasons, pilgrims often seek a connection to something larger than themselves, something beyond themselves, such as God, ancestors, or a transcendent feeling of awe and wonder. And they expect the experience to change them somehow. You chose to put aside other possible activities to be present for today's worship. Like a pilgrim, you are on a spiritual journey, if only for a brief moment. Once here or online, you sit a while, look or listen, reflect or meditate on what you hear or feel. Maybe you connect with others afterwards. Eventually you return home or turn away from your screen. Perhaps your expectations for worship were met. Perhaps you considered something new about yourself, the world, or a belief you hold. If so, yay, and hallelujah. In the earlier reading by Hugh of St. Victor, he said, quote, "When we lift up the eyes of the mind to what is invisible, we should consider metaphors of visible things as if they were steps to understanding. Visible, tangible things help us to understand invisible, abstract things, such as spirituality. Expressions like God the Father, Mother Earth, and life is a journey help communicate a quality or characteristic of something intangible and difficult to articulate. Symbols like spirals and labyrinths aid our understanding too. These designs have been found in prehistoric caves, rock cliffs, standing stones throughout the world, as well as on ancient pottery and coins. We can't know exactly what these designs meant to prehistoric people, but many lie at apparent religious sites, so there must be some spiritual connection. The Neolithic Passage tomb at Newgrange in Ireland is a magnificent Stone Age example. Over 5,200 years old, at its entrance rest huge boulders covered in chiseled spirals. A few years ago, I experienced this remarkable underground chamber tomb. Forced by this low lintel entrance, I humbly and reverently bowed my head while crossing the threshold. The narrow stone passageway leads deep into a dark interior space where mysteries once took place. I felt the spirits of the ancestors in that space. I felt a deep spiritual connection to them, and I shared their unanswered questions of life and death. Enveloped by darkness, I felt the riddle and mystery that we sung about earlier. It's not a stretch to imagine entering this underground structure, reaching its center, and then exiting back out into daylight can be represented symbolically by a spiral or a labyrinth. Tracing a spiral from its outer end point, and you can do this in the air with me if you want, but if you trace it from the outer edge around and around and around and into the center, then back out again, it echoes that in and out of the spiral and of the passageway. Although the actual passageway at New Grange is straight, the feeling of entering that dark womb of Mother Earth and returning resembles that universal one-way path. A labyrinth is a complex spiral. Numerous Roman mosaics and coins from ancient Crete display a seven-circuit labyrinth. Many illustrate the myth of Theseus, Ariadne, and the Minotaur, told since at least the 5th century BCE. In the myth, to ensure his return, Ariadne gives Theseus a ball of yarn to unwind as he enters into the labyrinth to seek and slay the Minotaur. But the need for yarn indicates Theseus entered a maze with many paths and dead ends designed to confuse. Mazes and labyrinths may once have been synonymous, but a labyrinth now distinguished itself by a one-path design. A labyrinth should not cause confusion, though multiple twists and turns may tease one's sense of progress towards the center. Symmetrical labyrinths give order to apparent chaos. On the floor of Chartres Cathedral in France lies an 11-circuit labyrinth completed by 1220 CE. 34 turns mark its path into the center, and then 34 back out again. Unlike older 7th Circuit labyrinths, creating this one required a greater understanding of math and geometry. Ancient Greek and Roman labyrinths were not walked. They primarily decorated homes and the public baths. By the time of the early Middle Ages, labyrinths were used for walking, racing, there were some racing games evidence, and a liturgical ball game performed by priests. Who would have thought? And this was done at Easter, part of a rebirth theme. And to further that rebirth theme, often maidens would stand in the center of the labyrinth and young men would race into the center to claim her. Probably harkens back to some ancient pagan roots. Puritans in the 17th century banned many of these practices, and some church labyrinths were actually destroyed. But those that remained became a physical tool for religious contemplation and meditation, even penance. Walking or crawling through a labyrinth may have substituted for pilgrimages to Jerusalem. I imagine some of you have experienced a labyrinth. Anyone? Yeah, a few nods. Many churches and retreat centers offer them. Intended for able walkers seeking a slow, mindful meditation, they can be used by people in wheelchairs or with visual assist aids. You can walk, skip, dance, roll, or crawl through a labyrinth. You can let your fingers do the walking on an actual handheld labyrinth. Perhaps some of you have seen those. Or you can imagine a spiral, a simple spiral, and use that as a meditation tool. Whatever your method, you're encouraged to pause before entering, to center yourself, maybe to form an intention or prayer, or simply clear your mind of distractions. Upon entry, you work toward the center at your own pace. The labyrinth's twists and turns can symbolize the many convolutions of our own lives, but practically, they can provide time to let go of that external busyness and allow you the silence and the stillness to perhaps hear a voice within, be it your idea of God, your conscience, the universe, or something else. Upon reaching the center, hopefully you are centered and receptive. You may pause there a while before slowly unwinding yourself, perhaps reflecting on the experience while you return. Upon exit, some practitioners offer a silent thanks for whatever they received. I have walked several labyrinths, sometimes feeling that the mini journey was calming and reflective, and other times I could never still my monkey mind. Like any spiritual practice, it may take practice. A positive or receptive attitude doesn't hurt either. Spiritual journeys don't require formal meditation, though I'm sure you are aware of the many health benefits of meditation. If you prefer not to include a practice like walking a labyrinth, our journeys can still include time for reflection, be that in worship, in small groups, or even walking a neighborhood. You may feel you have all the answers you need already, that your journey has ended. But I believe we humans are meant to live and grow throughout our lives. We only stop experiencing life when we're dead, and maybe not even then. May you allow yourself to be challenged by new ideas and experiences. May you reconsider old beliefs, especially those that may have stopped being useful to you or meaningful. May your journey through life be filled with spiritual friends to accompany you through life's twists and turns. May it be so, and blessed be.
Thank you very much. Each week, we take a monetary offering of donations to support our social justice work in the community. As this is the 5th Sunday of the month, we will be putting the money in our minister's discretionary fund to be used to help meet the needs of our members and friends. You may donate by putting cash or check in the basket. Please make any checks out to UUCH and put plate in the memo line. You may also donate by going online to our website or using the Vanco app once we get it set up. We don't have it set up yet.
QR code.
Use the QR code, thank you. Our offertory music is I'm Finding My Way Back to Now by Heather Pearson, which will be performed by our songbirds.
I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now.
Please join me in our prayer of collective gratitude found in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Please rise and body your spirit to sing our closing hymn, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," number 16 in the gray hymnal. Please be seated. To turn will be our delight, till by turning, we come round right. To trace a spiral, walk a labyrinth, or just get through the journey of life requires many turns. Hopefully some are filled with delight. To close, I share the words of spiritual writer and teacher Mark Nepo from his book, The Book of Awakenings. To journey without being changed is to be a nomad. To change without journeying is to be a chameleon. To journey and to be transformed by the journey is to be a pilgrim. Go from this house of love and compassion and be a pilgrim. Blessed be. Please join me for our closing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
Hey.